Everybody, welcome back to the Peace and Grease podcast. And we are all about that Midwest motor culture. And I'm excited because we sit down with some of the coolest people and get to know them, get to know their builds as they bring them into the studio here. And so I'm Flannel Phillip, that's Sinclair behind the camera. And today we are sitting down with
Rich Wenner.
Rich Wenner.
Richard Wenner.
Yeah.
Dick Wenner. However you want to pronounce it.
Love it. So we, not long ago, sat down with your son, and now it's fun to sit down with you, Rich, and get to know you a little bit. And you brought us a really cool Trans Am, and you and I have a connection in trucking, and so there's a lot we're going to get into when it comes to this. But let's just give it the quick 30-second version of who you are, where you're from, and then we'll jump right into your Pontiac here and what you brought. So.
All right. I'm Rich Wenner. I grew up around Morgan, New Ulm area all my life, and I drive truck. I've been driving truck since '84, and that's pretty much all I know. That and classic cars.
Sure.
I like the old stuff. When I stuck in this, I would stick into a square body pickup just to drive around.
Cool. And so you're Minnesota born, been Minnesota your whole life?
Yep.
Neat. And you're a truck driver. Do you stay in Minnesota most of the time, or you travel out a ways? Or
when I first started, I just ran local. Then in about 2000, I bought my own truck. I ran out towards Arizona, and I didn't do all the states, but I was running. But I'd go out for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I'd come home. But in Arizona, my sister lived there, so I had a place. I wasn't just staying at a truck stop. So that's kind of why I did it.
Nice.
But then when Christopher got into high school, I thought, no, I need to be home more. And so I got out and just stayed local hauling, and now I'm working for a guy out of Redwood Falls. We haul soak up grain beds, so I'm down in Iowa every week, and I just pretty much deliver around Minnesota. We deliver in South Dakota. I got a load going into Wisconsin in 3 weeks, but it's pretty much Minnesota that we deliver to.
Pretty local.
Yep.
Neat. That's cool. And I can tell from your car and your shirt, you're a Smokey the Bandit fan.
Yes, I am. Burt Reynolds, Smokey the Bandit, Jerry Reed.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that.
The only thing is, it's not black. And I've been asked that by even Christopher's brother, how come you didn't paint it black? Because it's always been white, and it's going to stay white. And I asked the guy at Good Guys Car Show last year, he had a black one. I says, people got on me about painting it black. No, don't paint it black. There's too many black ones.
Right.
And I get a lot of compliments on this white. I love it. And the blue.
Yes, sir. Now, what year is this car, and how many miles are on it? And then we'll get into how long you've owned it and kind of the backstory of it.
It's a 1977. When I purchased it in 86, 87, it had 60,000 actual miles on it. And I'm actually the third owner of the car. Where I bought it from was up by Broughton, Minnesota, from a farm place. And he told me his daughter drove it. And then he told me the cop of Broughton owned it.
Okay.
I haven't seen him yet, but I did talk to last summer. I went, I'll show you.
Okay.
I went to that farm. I wanted to show the daughter the car, but she wasn't around, but her mom was. And she was looking out the window, and I says, cool. You recognize this car? And she goes, we had a car like that. I says, this is the one. I bought it from you guys back in the 80s. I says, it's still here. I changed things on it a little, but it's pretty much all the same.
Wow.
And
that's
she
so
was
cool.
thrilled.
I bet. Yeah, that's really neat.
Ask any car guy, what's something that you'd like to change in your build? And I guarantee he'll say something about the electrical wiring. Because just like going shoe shopping with your girl, it can feel overwhelming and hopeless. But great news, the Peace and Grease podcast is sponsored by WireCare. They've got all the connectors and terminal ends, sleeving, heat shrink, zip ties, and all the tools to make your project's electrical wiring something to be proud of and show off at the next cruise night, because it's done safe and organized and done right. We're excited to be working with WireCare at the Peace and Grease HQ, so go check out their products and tools at wirecare.com.
Wow. And so you've had it since then, and you've changed a few things on it. We can get into that. But you've purposely left a lot of things alone.
Yep, it's pretty much pretty much what it is, except for the few changes, like what you said. We'll get into what I did.
Yeah. Engine, transmission, rear end. As far as you know, it's the original engine. Is that correct?
That's the original engine. It's had 60,000 on it. I got 164,000 on it. The only thing that might have been touched is the timing chain, but otherwise nothing's been done to the motor. 3 years ago, I was going to go to Good Guys, and my exhaust was dripping a lot of water and just white smoke, and I thought, oh, geez, something wrong. And I had my one car guy come over. He goes, well, that Pontiac motor's going to cost you money. I don't care. That motor is staying in that car. And I let it go for over a year, and I took it to a guy up by St. George, Beebles Repair. He looked at it. He calls me up. Your 7th rocker arm nut was off. I says, I understand that, but I says, there's 160,000 miles on that motor. I checked your compression. You got good compression. I don't know what to tell you. Pontiac motor, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And it's been good to me. And now, ever since I redid the car, it only gets driven to 3,000-4,000 miles in the summer, and by October, it's parked.
Sure. That makes sense. But you've put 100,000 miles on this car then. Is that what I understand? Wow.
I parked it in 98.
Okay.
Christopher saw it when he was 3 years old, and his eyes just, wow. Well, when he got into high school, I thought, I didn't have the money at the time to do anything with it, but when he got into high school, my parents passed away. I thought, that's it. That car's got to get ready for prom, which I did. I got it ready for prom because my youngest brother, when I first bought it, he used it for his prom in the 80s.
Okay. Wow.
And now it's kind of been my prom car. My nephew's been using it. Well, Christopher's younger brother used it.
Yeah.
That's why it shines so good right now. He did a good job of detailing it.
That's cool. He really did. It looks fantastic. Now you told me that this car it's not completely original because you had to use some pieces and some parts from a different car. Did I understand that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened there? What was the backstory there?
Well, we'll start in the late 80s.
Okay.
When I first was going to redo the car, I had to I had a little rust on the back quarter and the fenders. So a friend of mine back in Morgan, he did it, and he put all new quarters on the car for me, and I'm going to paint it white again. And I told him, I says, if there's a blue bird, I want a blue bird. He calls me up, they have a blue bird. I says, then a blue bird is going on there because I have blue interior.
Okay, because what color was the bird before?
Before, it was black and red and gray.
Oh,
I got a picture of it for you. Sure. So I changed that.
Cool.
Well, then it had the snowflake rims on, which I put the Keystones on.
Okay.
And they've been on for 40 years.
Yeah.
So he did all that. Then when I let my one nephew use it in the early 2000s, he put a little ding in the one door, which, yes, it sucked, but I needed new doors. Well, and then at that time, I needed floorboards, and the frame was getting bad. And I've never driven in the winter, but when I talked to that farmer, they told me their daughter drove it through the winter months. It's like, well, that's where my frame issue came from.
Sure.
So when I was going to get this car ready for Christopher to use for prom, I called my buddy up, Dale Lee, and he's a Dodge nut. And I says, say, you want to work on my Trans Am? You still have that? I says, yes, I do. I says, I need some body work done. He goes, Richard, I'm a Dodge guy. That's all right. I says, I got another body shop in mind. No, I'll do it. So then he goes, I got a friend of mine. He flies airplane. He'll go through New Mexico and Arizona junkyards down there. What kind of body you want? You want T-tops, hard tops? I'm thinking Smokey and the Bandit, we're going T-tops. But I wanted to leave the car original with a hard top. But I thought, no, T-tops are going in it.
Got it.
So then...
so the car was a hard top when you first got it.
Yep.
In the 80s. And you changed it over to a T-top car.
I changed it to a T-top.
From the donor car. Got it. Okay.
And then he found an original build for this car. So he painted it the white that was supposed to be, and that white's got a little red in it. So he did that, and
he fixed the rust, the floorboards.
The
he
floorboards,
took care of the frame issue.
Frames that came from an '81 car, because that style was interchangeable from early '70s to '81.
Yes. Yep.
So I went with an '81. It's an '81. Some of the parts are '81, but it's all GM parts that are on here. That's what I'm proud of.
Yes, that makes a big difference.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Because aftermarket stuff just isn't the same.
No.
It can't be.
No, because when I had an issue with my fender, he got a body shop got an OEM fender, and he says this fender didn't have that little crease, above the Trans Am there. So he put that crease in and painted it. The insurance guy stopped there. He goes, "No, I want a Bondo in that other fender," which he put on, and it still looks good. I mean, I'm glad I'm glad for what that guy did.
Cool. I love that there's so many pieces of your car that you've left that are period correct, like the wheels, the Keystone wheels.
Yep.
You still have the original Snowflake wheels, but your Keystones and the louvers over the back window and things like that you just left because they're correct for the 80s when this car was.
Well, like I told you before, when I go to car shows, people go, "That car's not original." Okay, you got me on the rims, but I says, when we bought cars back then, what did we do? We all tricked them out. We put what tires we want on them. We jacked them up. You look at back in the 50s, what those guys did in the 50s to the Model Ts and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, they chopped the tops off. I mean, this is where we got our influence from.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
The speakers that you have across the back dash are correct for the period of this car. And
yes,
I love that.
They bought them in the late 80s.
Yeah. See, that's cool. To me, I look in there and I think this is a guy who is leaving this car in this era. And I love that.
Yep.
That's really, really cool.
And I do have the Snowflake rims. I showed you that little car I had in there with the rims painted. I'm actually getting that done. They're going to be white Snowflake rims with blue flakes in there.
That's going to look really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be I'm going to be swapping tires all summer long.
Love it. So you're going to be the white Bandit.
Yes. That's it all started with Smokey and the Bandit, and then I thought, mine's white. It's not black. And I just started messing around with my boy Christopher at the White Bandit.
I love that.
I'm just sticking with it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't see a whip antenna on the trunk lid. Are you going to put a CV in it?
I was going to bring it with because when Bert died, I really don't win trophies with this car, and he always got on me about winning trophies. But when Bert died, I did a little tribute for him. So I took Christopher's antenna that he had on his Grand Prix. I stuck that on there. I think I set the CB in the car too, and I won 3 trophies that summer. And I'm sure it was the tribute to Bert, which we all miss you. Rest in peace, Bert. Yeah. We miss you.
That's right. Very cool. Well, I love that.
And that's probably why I'm hanging on to the car too. It's like what I told you before. I'm the last guy to purchase this car because my son Chris will inherit the car, which he can tell everybody he's the first person to inherit a 1977 Pontiac Trans Am.
That's so cool. I love that. I love that you have had it as long as you have, and it's taken on some of your personality, and you've done a tribute to the hero car that influenced you so much, and now you're passing it on.
One day I was in Walmart in New Orleans. There was a truck. We're getting into trucking here now.
I love it.
There was a Trans Am truck in there.
Yes. Yep. Trans Am trucking.
So I went up to the guy. There was a colored guy in there, and I said, I want to take a picture of my car by your trailer.
That's cool.
And he did let me do that.
Yeah. Love that.
I made a couple of these pictures. I'm going to send them to this company. I'm just going to say,
good. There you go.
I'm going to thank you for your logo.
Yeah.
Well, here's another thing. This car, when I had it done, it's never seen winter when I've had it. Well, that's actually kind of a lie. I'll show you that later. But End of October, it gets parked.
Sure.
In 23, we had no snow. And I was coming back from Thanksgiving, and they had the lights on at the lake in Sleepy Eye. And I asked my old one nephew, I said, you want to go through the lights? No. I thought, my car's never seen Christmas lights. So I waited a week. December 5th, it was 50 degrees out. And this is the beginning of the light show.
Oh, look at that. That's really cool. And so it's never seen salt since you had this done, but it was such a nice,
it was a
nice day.
And that's the lake. It's Sleepy Eye Lake.
Neat. That's fantastic.
Yep.
I love that. Yeah.
And then
very cool.
We were the flood last year.
Yes.
You know, we lost a historic Rapidan Dam store.
Yes. Yep.
Well,
I do remember that.
Bert White Bandit was there a few years before we lost that.
Wow.
And a year before it was lost, my buddy, he's got a few cars. So I took him there and we had a good time.
Neat.
So I'm glad I took these pictures.
Yes.
Because I never thought the store would have been gone. But
right. Yeah. That we didn't see that dam destruction coming, but no. I'm glad you have these. That's a piece of history.
And a couple weeks before that went down, Christopher and their family were there eating, and I was going to take this over there, but I could see rain over in that next to the woods, and he texted me, it's raining over here. Yeah, I'm not taking my car over there.
Sure.
I'm kind of mad that I didn't, because that would have been the last time it would have saw that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I want to shout out a little place in Sleepy Eye, and I thought this was funny. I parked my car there, and the place is called the Main Bandit Saloon.
The Main Bandit
or
Saloon.
Salon.
Yeah, Main Bandit Salon.
Well, I got to park the
That's
Bandit
pretty cool. Neat. Yes, sir.
And to keep the Smokey and the Bandit thing on, my nephew drives semi, and at that time he was hauling seed for a guy. So the Bandit had to park by the Snowman.
Yes. Yep. I love that. That's really cool. Did you run blocker for him that day?
No, I tried. Well, I made up stuff that we were running Houndstein beer.
Okay.
we all love our Houndstein.
Oh, yes. Yep. That's a New Ulm reference. I get that.
And about the snow, yes, it did touch snow.
It has seen snow. Okay. Just not salt.
And to keep the Smoke and the Bandit up, I do have a Kenworth in my yard, so it had to get parked by...
An A model Kenworth there.
Yep.
That's really cool. And is that your truck?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Me and my brother bought that. We went down, it was a town down by Des Moines, Iowa. He asked me, "Do you want to buy a 64 Kenworth?" Well, I want to see this. So we drove all the way down there. And when I opened the door, it had, like the dash in there, it's got that aluminum or chrome kite. Yeah. That's what was in here.
Wow.
And in this truck, it had a sleeper on it, but before it had the sleeper, it just had a roll-up window on the back.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that caught my eye. And they kept the window in there I think they put the bunk on it, but they kept the crank-up window in there. I thought, we're going to buy this. I said, now we got to see if the truck starts.
Wow.
He brought batteries down, and it spun over, but we couldn't get it fired. I says, well, if this truck's been sitting here for 15 years, the filter's probably messed up. So we took that off. Let's get a new filter. We couldn't find a filter, no Napa store, nothing. I said, let's just put new fuel in it. That thing started right up, and I says, wow, this is coming home.
That's awesome.
And about 3 weeks later, he found a guy to haul it to my place. And the funny thing is, when he told him the address, the guy goes, I know where that place is at. He goes, how do you know that? Because I bought a W900 Kenworth from that guy. What she did, the truck I had running to Arizona, when I got out of it, this guy purchased that truck from me.
Really?
So he delivered our Kenworth to my house.
Wow. That's a full circle moment right there.
Yes.
So when you were an owner-operator, you were driving a Kenworth W900.
Yep.
And he hauled it away to its new owner, and then he's bringing...
well, no, this guy bought my W900 to drive.
Bought it.
He was driving. He delivered my truck with my old truck.
I see. Wow. That's something.
Yes.
Man alive. Huh. Pretty cool.
Well, then his mom's got a dog. And when I opened the door to my car, old Briggs jumps in. Like, he likes to go for rides.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
of course, I had to give him a ride in the Trans Am.
Cool.
So it was a good time.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yep.
I love that. Wow. Yeah. Did we forget anything else with your car? I love the stories that go along with it.
Well, my trunk.
Okay, tell us about your trunk.
I always go to Comfrey to have breakfast, and I thought, what's up with this trunk? It was what didn't close right. So I opened it up, and I'm like trying to figure out, well, that must be loose. No, everything's tight. Oh, what the heck? Well, then I got looking at the hinge. The hinge is cracked. I thought, the only thing I could think of is, yes, the metal's 50 years old, but why would you crack? Well, my one nephew does body work. So I said, you guys want to fix this? So I got a Camaro hinge in my Pontiac car.
Those are interchangeable
yes,
parts,
they
I'm
are.
sure. Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Because you're a Pontiac guy through and through.
Yep.
But to have a Chevy part on your Pontiac.
Yep.
Yeah. But wow, that's neat. Yeah.
But otherwise, it's been a good car. Like I said, I haven't touched the motor yet.
Wow.
I just had it put new tires on, but I had a few things loose up front, so he tightened some stuff up, but he had to replace one rod, which, put it in there.
Yeah.
If it makes it another 10 years,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you drive it and you enjoy it. It's not just sitting like a museum piece,
That's what my Dodge guy told me. He says, drive that. That's what they're meant for. They're meant to be driven, not to be sitting.
Yep, that's right. That's the best thing for them.
Yep.
Use them.
And I enjoy it. I drive mine, and I'll go to New Ulm, and I'll park in like Runnings or Walmart, and I'll come out. People come up. Can I take a picture of your car? I'm in the store. How many people do you think take pictures of my car when I'm not around?
Yeah.
And I had one lady stop with her daughter. Can I take a picture of my daughter by your car? And I wasn't thinking. I should have told her she could sit in it. But you're thinking it's your car. You're not thinking.
Yeah.
But I said, no, go ahead. It's.
Cool.
She goes, well, she'd never seen stuff like this, and that's what I like, is taking this out, showing people. Because,
that's right.
Like I say, nowadays all cars are built the same.
Yeah.
So you don't know if it's a Chevy, Ford, whatever.
Yeah, and they're not making Pontiacs anymore.
No.
So
yes, so I gotta keep the history going.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Wow. Well, keep driving it. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't jump it like old Bert did when he was jumping his.
I seen that covered bridge down there, and I thought, we just might have to make a clip here real quick.
We'll keep the rubber side down on this car. We don't need to get it airborne. But well, thanks for bringing it in and sharing it with us and telling the stories about it. And any of these photos, we're gonna.
Yes,
make sure that those get up on screen so people
I made
can enjoy
extras.
those too.
You can have all these, and
thank you.
I'll explain them all through again to you guys after this. But
Super.
I want to thank my boy, because he asked me about this weekend. He goes, if my truck ain't gonna make it, I want to take your car down. Go ahead. Well, then we were messing around with his truck, and he goes, if you bring your car down, they're gonna do the podcast on. I don't like talk. I'll talk, but I don't like being in this situation. But I had a good time. Thank you, Christopher, and thank you two guys. Thank
absolutely.
you.
Well, thank you. I love that you brought the car and that you're telling us your stories, because this is how it gets preserved and this is how it gets passed on to the next generation.
Yes.
Not just Christopher, but young guys that are watching this or listening to it.
Yep.
We're trying to preserve hot rod culture and car culture, and we're all about that on this channel. And just as artists and individuals, that's what we're trying to preserve from now on. So you're a part of it.
This is the thing. This is where I tell people. You remember when Dodge said we're going to come out with a Charger or whatever? Well, then Chevy goes, we're coming back out with the Camaro. This is where they screwed up. If Chevy was smart, they would have came out with a 68 Camaro body with the new technology in it. But no, they say nobody's going to buy this. You really? There's a lot of kids would die to have my car. And I said, just like a square body pickup, if Chevy or Ford would come out with a old square body pickup, put some of the new technology in it. Mm-hmm. Don't put all that electrical stuff in here, but just come out with how it was back in the day, but heavier, newer motors. And
Yep.
They would sell a lot more. No, they won't sell. It's like, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
That's why I told you, I says, I would stick $20,000-$30,000 at a square body Chevy, and that's just going to be my summer driver.
Yeah.
That's better than spending $100,000 on a brand new pickup.
Yep. You're right. Yep. It's more than just retro styling. There's something about the way that old vehicles were built. They're just more sturdy and solid, and they're simpler, easier to work on. And so it's that type of appreciation that you're passing on to your son.
We came to Faribault today. And what was that Ford? It was like it was the late 70s, early 80s Ford, and that thing looked sweet.
Cool.
I was hoping I could have got up by him by the light because I was just going to honk at him and give him a thumbs up. It was kind of an older guy, and it's like that was a nice looking truck.
Neat. I love that. Yep. Cool. Well, keep it alive. Keep it going.
I will. I'll be burning down the road just like Bert was.
That's right. Tell me your cylinder index. How many cylinders do you own? They can be gas or diesel. Could be weed whip, lawnmower, snowmobiles. Give me your total number of cylinders that you own.
I was going to say 35 to 40, and now that I got that semi sitting there, so there's another 8 there. So
that's a V8.
We're probably going to be close to 50.
All right.
That's
a fantastic number.
Yes.
Yeah, you might be one of the higher numbers that we've had on the show so far. So there you go. 50 is the number to beat. No.
You said we might talk about trucking?
Yes.
He knows this. I collect a lot of toy semis.
Cool.
And I probably got good 300.
Neat.
Yep.
There you go. So you're a collector of the miniatures.
The 164s, but I also collect the old metal.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day when we were kids?
Yes. Yep.
When I'm at swap meets, if they look good and they're reasonable, if it's something I want in my eye collection, it's mine.
Love it. That's really cool.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today and spending some time with us. Yeah. And thank you guys for watching this episode. We had a fantastic time. We want to thank our sponsor, WireCare, and our Patreon community. Without you guys, we can't do what we do. And so thank you so much for your support. Go out and buy some WireCare product, and we will see you on the next episode of the Peace and Grease podcast.